This is the ACSM Curl Up Muscular Endurance Test, and Ronnie will be our demonstrator for the day. He'll show incorrect and correct form. So what we're going to do is have the individual assume a supine position on a mat with knees at 90 degrees. We're going to want the arms at the sides, palm facing down, with the middle finger touching the piece of masking tape. You're going to have a second piece of masking tape that is placed 10 centimeters apart from where his middle finger is touching the first piece of masking tape. Shoes should remain flat on the floor during the test. A metronome is set at 50 beats per minute, and the individual will do slow, controlled curl-ups, lifting the shoulder blades off the mat at a 30-degree angle. With each beat of the metronome, Ronnie should lift up with the first beat, and then with the second beat go down. So he's lifting up and then down. The test will be done for a total of 1 minute. When Ronnie lifts his trunk up, he'll be contracting his muscles and exhaling. When he goes down, he will be inhaling, relaxing the muscles. The lower back should be flattened all the way before lifting up. Ronnie will perform as many curl-ups as possible without pausing to a maximum of 25 curl-ups. After 25 curl-ups, he will be finished. So if Ronnie is having a hard time identifying where the tape is on the mat, you could have the person who is doing the test set their hands right here like I am, and then he will lift up, feel my fingers, and go back down. That way he knows that he is going over the tape line. Improper techniques that will end the curl-up test would be if Ronnie did not pass the tape twice. He'll get one warning, and then the second one will end the test. If Ronnie were to lift up his feet while performing the test, and if he would only reach with one hand. Another improper technique that Ronnie could perform during the curl-up test is if he could not keep up with the metronome beats. Ronnie is a 22-year-old male who performed 25 curl-ups, which is classified excellent. Ronnie has excellent core muscles.
We're going to show you how to set up a metabolic cart, which provides a wide range of applications for cardiopulmonary exercise testing. A metabolic cart can also be used to assess the energy requirements during exercise and to determine work capacity. Also accurately assesses indirect calorimetry, metabolic rate, on spontaneous breathing and ventilator-dependent infants, children, and adults. When first setting up the metabolic cart, you want to make sure that everything's turned on and working properly. You'll have a power strip right here, as you can see. You want to make sure that you also turn on the analyzer, which is right here. And the computer will actually, you have to turn it on by itself, so you'll just come over here and turn the computer on as well. For appropriate measurements, the system needs to be calibrated prior to measurement. Calibration is performed after an analyzer warm-up period of 30 minutes. Some devices use room air for calibration, which is what we will be using. The first step in calibrating the metabolic cart is to do a gas calibration, which will be testing the air in the room. Measurements are temperature, humidity, and barometric pressure, as shown here. The information for temperature, barometric pressure, and humidity is gathered from this device. So after gathering the information, we want to input all of the information into the computer. And then press OK. Now the computer is going to instruct us to turn on the gas to 3 psi, as shown here. Now you want to make sure that prior to turning on the gas that it's already set at 3 psi. So you'll turn it 90 degrees and then you'll press OK and the computer will begin to sample the room air. It usually takes about 30 seconds. Okay. After the computer's finished sampling the air, you'll go back to the gas tank and you'll turn it clockwise another 90 degrees to turn it off. Okay, so the next step is flow meter calibration, which will immediately follow gas calibration. First, you have to make sure that all of the necessary equipment is set up correctly. You'll have a moisture filter connected to a liquid trap. You will then connect a tube to that assembly and the other end of the tube to the two-way breathing valve, as shown here. Once all that is connected and the tube's connected to that assembly, you will then take the other end of the tube and connect it clear to clear to the two-way breathing valve, as shown. And you want to make sure that this is tight and secure. So after that is connected, to calibrate the flow sensor, we will then plug the breathing valve to a certified 3-liter calibration syringe, which is used to push air through the system, simulating the breathing pattern of an adult. After everything is connected and secure, you will then press the flow meter calibration on the computer. A prompt screen will come up. You will press sample baseline. Okay, so you'll start with the syringe plunger pressed all the way in, as shown. This step calls for 5 strokes, the first being a detection stroke and the other being 4 flush strokes to ensure accuracy in the calibration. You will need to be sure to pull and push the syringe plunger all the way in and all the way out. Upon completion of the detection and flushes, we're going to start with our first full stroke. The next 5 strokes, you will have to pull the plunger and push back in at various speeds. There are predetermined numbers that you must hit for each stroke. The first stroke being between 50 and 80, as shown. Second stroke being between 100 and 200 liters per minute, as shown. Third stroke being between 200 and 300, as you can see there. The fourth stroke between 300 and 400. And as you can see, she didn't hit the correct liters per minute. So rather than pressing cancel, you want to make sure that you hit cancel with the numbers. Otherwise, you'll cancel out of the entire process and you'll have to restart. So she'll continue with the 300 to 400 stroke. She hit it. And the next stroke, the 5th stroke, is greater than 400. Okay, and that'll be the end of calibration. Once flow meter calibration is complete, you'll want to look at the low to high difference. If the difference is between these 2 values is greater than 5%, the calibration must be redone for accurate testing. After checking the values, you want to hit save, and you will end flow meter calibration. You will then be ready to test VO2 maxing and metabolic testing.